These are the 9 law firm AI survival requirements, and I'm going to break down 2 sections of this in today's episode of the Law Firm Growth Acceleration podcast. The first section is going to be the 5 survival requirements and shifts that will happen in intake and marketing, so client acquisition, and then the 4 that will happen on the law firm management side. So I'll be diving in first to the intake and marketing side, client acquisition, starting with number 1, which is the importance of diversified ads. So let me back up for a second and explain where I'm coming from with this. So what I'm looking at is the law firm of 2030, 2040, right? What are going to be some of the survival requirements for a firm existing, and not just existing, but thriving in the age of mass adopted AI, which is right around the corner for us? And the firms that can embrace these changes faster are going to be the firms that gobble up market share, make more money than ever before, cut costs more than ever before, and ultimately build very valuable practices that are going to be worth tens of millions of dollars as the enterprises in the legal industry of the future. So let's start with this concept around the importance of diversified ads. In the past, I used to say that it was super important to dominate one channel of law firm marketing. I used to say that you have to go all in on one platform and then have everything else be tangents of that one platform. Well, I think this may shift in the future. I think that we're going to enter a period of high diversification in advertising for law firms. There is going to be there already has been huge shifts that have happened around the usage of connected TV. So internet streaming, kind of is the primary way. Streaming providers is the primary way that people now watch movies. The way that, entertainment was launched in the past is now completely different through the streaming platforms. There's really no such thing as movie premieres anymore, or at least legitimate ones. So connected TV, how do we get our law firms in front of these emerging platforms? That's not really an AI shift. That's just really a cultural shift. And I'll explain why this all leads back to diversified ads, especially for smaller firms. Social media, right? Having ads on social media are going to be super important as a part of your arsenal, just because that's right now one of the only ways to force your law firm's brand in front of your target market. We're going to have a lot of change with AI browsers. So ChatGPT Atlas, 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 was recently launched by OpenAI. And this is one of the leading and first real big conversational AI web browsers where you can actually interact with web pages rather than just be presented a web page, which poses a big risk for Google. If this web browser picks up momentum, it's going to be mission critical that law firms find out how to rank their law firms' websites, which we'll get into a little bit later, on these separate platforms. And all of this change makes it so that you kind of want to have your hook in many different ponds, right? If you're fishing, you don't want to put all your eggs in one pond, right? You want to start dipping your bait in multiple different ponds so that you can accommodate your client acquisition to the fact that there is a lot of change happening right now, and a lot of change is going to continue happening. And by having your law firm in many different advertising platforms instead of depending on one thing, you're going to be better off than going all in on one platform if you have a budget, call it under $50,000 a month in terms of marketing. If you're spending more than $50,000 a month, we'll talk about where I think offline is going in a second. But you can get away with a little bit more going all in on one thing and then having ancillary marketing channels on the background. But I do think one of the biggest shifts, just because of the sheer fact that there is so much change happening in consumer behavior, if consumers start going onto these new AI web browsers and abandon Google, we're going to want to be showing up on those web browsers if that happens. But if it doesn't happen and Google somehow comes out with new AI innovations and makes their web browser AI based and fights back, like I think they will, as one of the largest market cap companies in the world, they're going to fight back. Maybe people stay on Google, right? So because we're in a state of flux here, it's like, okay, my law firm still needs to show up on Google. My law firm still has to be showing ads on Google and ranking for organic on Google, but I also have to start showing up on these other platforms that people are using. I also have to make sure I'm force feeding my law firm content in front of people on social media and connected TV, and any other ways I can possibly do it through the internet, so that I have an insurance policy should any one of these platforms dramatically drop in usership. As we know, Google has, for the first time in decades, dropped below 90% market share of the search market. And it's no surprise that this is happening concurrently with, ChatGPT launch just a few years ago, which was the most successful product launch of all time, consumer product launch of all time in all of history. So yes, people are increasingly using different tools now. And because of that, and because of how much consumer behavior is in flux, we have to diversify our marketing approach more than we have ever done before, which means we have to have our bait and our hooks in many different ponds so that we're not dead in the water if any one channel of new clients dries up for us. Okay, the second one I want to talk about is super important, and this is the importance of brand, okay? Because things are in such a state of flux with consumer behavior, I believe the law firm of the future, survival requirement number 2, is to focus on brand. I think there's going to be 2 main channels of brand. One is going to be traditional ads. So we'll talk through a potential resurgence of traditional ads. But then 2 is going to be organic content, right? And we'll talk about some of the trade-offs with AI in organic content specifically. But brand is going to be one of the most important moats for a law firm to have, right? That is your competitive position as a law firm. It's really going to come down to the brand that you have and how many people know of your law firm and how many people trust your law firm and give your law firm raving reviews, right? Brand is going to be everything, because let's say all these technology shifts keep happening. Let's say consumer behavior keeps happening. If 100% of the people in your local market know your law firm's name, it ain't going to matter. They're still going to call your law firm, right? So getting known is more important than ever before by everyone in your market, because that is your insurance policy against technology change. So the question becomes, how do I get known? This is where I think, again, it's this trade-off between organic content or traditional advertising or social media advertising, which I would tie into the content bucket. But let's talk about the potential resurgence of traditional ads. They've worked in the past, right? I don't see a world where billboards, radio has died in consumption dramatically with the use of Spotify and will eventually die out even more and more and more. But TV, radio, and billboards, what is the future of traditional advertising? Well, it comes down to what I mentioned, right? I don't think billboards are going anywhere. I think force-feeding your law firm's name to people is going to become more important than ever. I think billboards are going to grow in value as the AI revolution happens, because it's going to be one of the most guaranteed ways to force your law firm's brand in front of people's faces. But that's cost prohibitive for a lot of people. So I think there's going to be another big resurgence in how TV advertising happens. I think TV advertising is going to become more of a distribution diversity around where your law firm's ads show up on TV, right? So I think there's going to be, since there's so many different streaming platforms, right? There's so many out there that it's almost going to become growing in popularity for law firms to diversify where your law firm shows up on TV, because traditional TV channels, as we know, are dying in viewership because of YouTube, because of connected TV and all the streaming platforms. So I think somebody's going to figure out a way to create a advertising platform where you can post one law firm ad, and that law firm ad is distributed across like 100 different platforms. Now, they've already done this for connected TV, but the problem is with some of these ad distribution networks is sometimes your law firm's ad gets put mostly on very low traffic, connected TV channels, right? So you don't get that much viewership through some of the current ones. But what if you could have one law firm ad that then distributes itself to YouTube, pre-roll ads, which is another new form of TV, but also to some of the major streaming platforms? Should they start rolling out ads, in some of the more popular streaming platforms? I think that TV, the fact that people like watching entertainment is not going to go anywhere. However, the vehicle through which they watch the entertainment is going to continue changing and has already dramatically changed. So traditional advertising from a billboard perspective, I think is going to grow. Traditional advertising from a TV perspective simply is going to shift to where the consumers are spending their time, which is a merge of social media and connected TV and these streaming platforms. So finding out how to get your ads on a mix of the social media platforms and the connected TV and the streaming platforms is going to be just as powerful, if not more powerful, since so few law firms are doing it, than how powerful it was when literally TV ads first came out. Because we're in the wild, wild west right now. We're in a period of massive innovation around the modern form of TV advertising. And it's super important that you find a way to pounce on that and get your law firm everywhere where people are watching screens. Organic content, I think, is going to become as important as having a website, right? If you don't have content online, I pretty much think you're going to be dead in the water. And we'll talk about the importance of humanized content with the advent of AI generated content, which ties to my next point. But the bottom line is this: brand is going to be more important than ever. How many people know your law firm's name in your local market is going to be the most important asset because of all this change that's happening behind the scenes. If you can just control that one variable of having everyone in your market know your law firm's name, then chances are you're going to be successful regardless of the technology changes. So I would make that one of your top goals, is to have a brand of a law firm that everyone in my market knows the name of, knows the phone number of, etc. Okay. Let's talk about AI content creation and some of the pitfalls on this. So I said that organic social is going to be mission critical, okay? There's two types of AI content creation. There's video, there's written word, and actually, I'm sorry, there's three. There's photo, right? Image. So these are the three forms of content. You have image, you have written word, you have video. And the question is going to be, how do you leverage AI to promote your law firm from a content creation perspective without losing your humanity, okay? So I believe because AI content is going to continue to feel more and more natural, okay? And if we were to go a year from now, this video is not AI created, but there's going to be a world where the content in, like I'm doing right now, long form podcast content, can feel as though it's completely real, even though if I was an AI avatar making this video, it's gonna be completely real. I mean, we've seen this with the song platforms, AI songs, Suno, they sound completely real. It's going to happen for video. It's just a matter of time. So I think we're going to enter a hybrid world of content creation. We're going to enter a world where the most successful lawyers, 80% of their content that they put online is going to be AI generated. And 20% of the content that's put online is going to be non-AI generated, okay? So I think because AI is going to become so real, I actually think it's going to become a cool thing in the future to have some content you put out that's not AI, to show people that you are a human being, right? And I think that law firms are going to find a way to humanize themselves by increasingly using formats like this, like podcasting, and then having print on the text on your videos that says this video is not AI, or having some watermark or some method of knowing and communicating that this is not AI. So I think that the smartest law firms, 80% or more of what they put out online is going to be AI generated. And there's going to be a room and an increasing desire for the 20% that's not AI generated, so that people feel that they can actually connect with you. But in terms of short form videos, I think that is the most prime candidate for full AI. You can control the 15 to 60 second script that you use on social media. It's too short of a clip for people's BS detectors to go up. I think they're going to look completely real in the future. So I think you're going to have to know where in your law firm's internet marketing strategy to use AI, where to use non-AI to create that hybrid approach. I think number 4 is AI-based search engine and browser rankings. Okay, so with this ChatGPT Atlas new web browser rollout, this is an interactive website browser. You can interact with the websites and do conversational AI with the websites that you're visiting in real time. If Google doesn't make a massive shift here, this web browser is going to be very popular from OpenAI and ChatGPT. So I mentioned this earlier in the diversify your marketing concept, but you're going to have to find out and work with companies that know how to get your law firm ranked on these new emerging AI platforms, okay? Which is really going to require that you work with a company that pivots, right? And can actually adjust with the times, and not bury their head in the sand, continually. So I think finding out how to get your law firm's advertisements on the growing AI-based web browsers and search engines. Okay, Perplexity is another growing search engine that is so much more advanced than Google's search engine. Some people are going to be using Perplexity. Some people are going to be using ChatGPT Atlas. Some people are going to be using Google and not changing from that with some of the changes that Google is going to make to fight back against this. This is going to create a lot of disruption in SEO marketing in terms of getting your law firm's website to show up not just on Google now, but on whatever websites people end up using in the future, in addition to Google. So this is going to be very critical for your internet strategy. Also, there's a chance that your reviews are not going to port over to some of these other platforms in the future. So you're going to have to start generating 5-star reviews on these other platforms as well as Google, because there's a chance some of these other platforms will not keep using some of the content you have on Google for their platforms if they want to put Google out of business. So AI-based search engine and browser rankings is going to become a survival requirement for law firms. Last but not least, on intake and marketing, number 5, AI in early stage intake. Okay, this is going to be a survival requirement. People want things fast. People want things precise. People don't want to waste time. So figuring out how you're going to use for initial inbound calls. Okay, I believe if it saves people time and it guarantees them a response, people are not going to be pissed off at the opening phone call they make to a law firm being AI. If it saves them time, if it gets picked up 100% of the time they call, right? Right now, most law firms don't even pick up the phone. Okay, so consumers are going to be happy to have AI be the first point of contact they have when they contact a law firm, so long as it saves them time, gives more precision, gets them an answer to their question faster. So early stage intake is going to be handled by AI at some point in time. Emails, okay? Texts, chatbots, okay? When you get email inquiries, okay? These are going to be conversational AI response mechanisms. This has already happened with many customer service organizations. So this kind of merges to intake, to customer service and client management. What if 90% of client questions can be answered by a simple conversational AI chatbot, right? I believe there's probably going to be creators that create AI conversational systems that take all the most frequently asked questions within a law firm, within a practice area, and can actually systemize client experience by systemizing email and text responses from clients to save time on client management. This is going to also, because of the use of AI in customer management, another thing that's going to grow in importance is data accuracy, right? So let's say that your conversational AI that does email responses to your client questions pulls from your CRM. Let's say your CRM doesn't have accurate information on the client. Let's say that notes weren't taken on the last call you had with a client. And the AI responds to that client without the context of what you last talked about with that client. There's a chance that the AI is going to have the wrong response. So I believe accurate data is going to become the holy grail of using AI, both in early stage intake, but also in client experience and client management. And then chatbots. I think chatbots, just think about how much chatbots are used right now with ChatGPT, right? And all the other platforms emerging. Well, it's not crazy to think that people, especially with the growth of Atlas, with the expected growth of the new web browser Atlas, it's not crazy to think that people are going to want to interact with your website, okay? They're going to want to ask questions about their specific case and get specific answers to it based on the expertise of that website. What that could change AI in early stage intake using chatbots is the information that you put on your website, so that when that chatbot pulls from your website, it gives accurate responses to the person live on your site asking questions about whether or not your law firm is the right fit for them. So this may change the types of content that we put on a law firm website so that chatbots can pull the right information from that law firm. And there may be other sources for this information other than your website, which may also be another survival requirement, to have that information crystal clear on your law firm so that the chatbot actually works when someone uses it. So those are the 5 intake and marketing pillars. I believe these are the survival requirements of the law firm of the future: diversified marketing, brand, AI content creation with a hybrid balance of hyper-personalized, even vulnerable content so people can actually connect with you and your firm's brand as a person, AI-based search engine browser rankings, and AI early-stage intake, AI using initial calls to provide 24/7, 365 service to clients, immediate responses. Chatbots is another example of AI early-stage intake. Email and text message responses in elements of the sales process, but also the customer experience, client experience process, which leads me to number 6, okay? This is the first of the 4 management pillars that I'm going to go through in these 9 pillars. So number 1 in management, number 6 in this list, is the importance of client experience, okay? As AI usage grows, people are going to want closer and closer connections with the law firm that they work with, right? The law firm that they hire, they are going to want to feel more and more connected with, right? With everything becoming AI, chatbot, tech-based, human connection is going to become so critical. So we're going to have to create scalable ways in our law firms to make sure that we're keeping that human connection and we're not just automating everything to the point where clients feel like they've hired, they're a number rather than the most important person you talk to today. So I believe that everybody, okay, in a law firm is going to have to be trained on world-class client experience, that Ritz-Carlton Four Seasons way of making people feel like the most important person in your world. And I think if we can figure that out, the firms who do are going to be the firms that, if you could just optimize on 2 things, The firms that are known by the most people in their market and prioritize on that brand, and diversifying their marketing, right, to produce that result. And then also the firms that have world-class client experience and build those connections with their clients, right, those personalized connections, they're going to be the firms that are unstoppable. Because producing great legal results is going to be rinse and repeat now with the AI integrated into the operational infrastructure of how cases are actually managed, right? The level of analysis that you can do at your fingertips to determine whether or not, based on the facts of a case, it makes sense to settle early, settle later, bring it to trial if you're contingency fee based, blah, blah, blah. Like, the way of getting results for clients is only going to increase. It's going to become more of a commodity, getting great results for clients over time once AI gets embedded into all of the management and case management infrastructure. And what's going to be the real separators is how many people know your firm and what that client experience is like for the end user who hires your law firm. Number 2 in management. So number 1 is the importance of client experience. Number 2 is using conversational AI chatbots for your client experience. Okay, so we mentioned this. So this is frequently asked questions. This is those emails that can oftentimes get lost. Right? We already have these platforms that have been rolled out that integrate with your case management system and send proactive updates to clients throughout the status of their case, right? And so we have these platforms. There's been a lot of success with these platforms. The next evolution of this is not just to have technology update your clients through every milestone of the case, but also to now integrate that with conversational AI so that the client can ask questions back and get an immediate response back based on the facts of the case, where their case is currently at, without involving human time. So again, this is all about giving the client a better experience, faster responses, 24/7, 365 handling of their needs, right? And if AI can do that better than a human, consumer behavior has taught us that human behavior will gravitate towards that which gives them a better result faster, right? And cheaper. Okay. So that's number 2, is the conversational AI chatbots used for your client experience. Okay. That's number 7 on our list. Okay. Number 8, which is number 3 in management, is efficiency in operations creates a transition to value-based pricing. Okay. Well, is there a chance that in the future, the law firm of the future who survives will have to transition to value-based pricing, right? I think this is going to be a decision that ultimately the legal industry makes at one point in time. Either we're going to cut costs, let's say because of AI efficiency, because of the time it cuts out of research, case prep, analyzing documents, analyzing the facts of cases, decision making. Let's say that the use of AI in the case management, case production process, quote unquote, let's say that makes us 3 times more efficient. Well, that would mean that we would technically bill 3 times less hours, right? So if we're getting the same result in a case with 3 times less hours of billable hours, as an example, are we just going to reduce our costs 3 times? We could increase our hourly rate dramatically. I think there may be a big transition to go to value-based pricing, right? Where we basically look at, the value that we're going to provide the end client, and we price according based on the value rather than based on the hourly inputs, right? And if the whole legal industry can make this shift, law firms are going to become record-settingly profitable. There are plenty of businesses, consulting being a great example of this, where they do value-based pricing, right? They don't even look at the number of hour-based inputs, right? Is there a chance that we get to a world where where law firms are primarily value-based? I think there is. I think that we need to start experimenting with this especially as we get more and more efficient, because the only alternative is we bill less hours or we triple, which is going to reduce our revenues and require us to sign up a bunch more cases to get the same revenues we're currently doing. Or we're going to have to triple our hourly rate. I think probably one of the best models is going to be value-based pricing. So I think it's something that law firms need to start experimenting with now so that they can be a forward thinker in that department rather than a follower. Last but not least, this is number 9 on the list of survival requirements for law firm AI innovation. And it's number 4 and last on the management list, law firm management, culture shifts around change. Okay. So with how much change is happening, the negative Nancys in your company that do not embrace change, the culture of trying not to piss off my attorneys so they don't quit, or walking on eggshells with your team because, they don't want any change, they don't want any rock into the boat. These days are going to be in the past, and I hope that they're in the past very soon. And I believe that we're going to go through a culture shift where AI is going to become so powerful that all of the Stone Age and unable to change employees that you have, and the ones that bicker and the ones that are constantly moaning and groaning about improvement initiatives in your law firm, they're just going to be fired. They're not going to have jobs, right? And unfortunately, they're going to have to learn the hard way that AI innovation is not a choice, okay? It's an absolute necessity. So yeah, AI is going to create a bunch of change in your law firm. You're probably going to reduce your headcount over time, but those people that you keep on your team, they better be AI enthusiasts, because the last thing you want is to make all these huge innovations in your firm and have people constantly throwing a bag of bricks behind you as dead weight, dragging down this process, slowing it down, making it harder than it needs to be for you and the future of your firm. So I believe a big culture shift is going to happen. I think this will happen across a lot of industries, not just legal, is we're just not going to accept the non-AI adopters on our teams in the future, and they're going to have to go through a hard period of unemployment in order to learn that, sorry, there's no plan B here. Okay, everyone has to embrace AI because this is the new industrial revolution. Okay, so those are the 9 survival requirements as I see them for the law firm of the future, a law firm that is fully affected by and crushing AI-based initiatives. So I hope you got value from this. Let me know if you think I missed any of the 9 survival requirements. If I missed any survival requirement, let me know in the comments below, and let me know which of the 9 I went through do you think is most important. And I will see you in the next episode of the Law Firm Growth Acceleration Podcast. Stay great.